What is up, Club 100? And I want to say I look forward to meeting everybody that's attending next Wednesday. I think we have like 5 spots left. We have the whole deck in downtown Naperville at Nando's Peri Peri. And it's an open mastermind, but it's only good for 20. So what I want to talk about in this video is how to determine who your target market is. And the first thing you should write in your notes, if you're writing this down, whether it's replay or live, you should write down that the who is more important than the what. Meaning, everybody's so concerned about what they're selling without even determining, first of all, who is it that would even want it in the first place. And it isn't a good business strategy to have to go after anybody with a pulse and a wallet, right? Because that's what most business owners do. They chase customers religiously and they think anybody and everybody that has money is their customer. Unfortunately, that's why most businesses struggle, because they don't even have a determination of who they're trying to find in the first place. And also they don't have any authority in any network. So what I want to do is talk about the 5. When we used to do seminars and we used to do live presentations and do live events in Chicago, we had workshops. We had one that was called the Ultimate Business Course for Dummies, and we also had one called the Entrepreneur Evolution. And we would go through these 5 things because I think of any business owner that hasn't really determined or defined who they are trying to market to, then this will definitely help. So the first one we want to talk about is geographic. Geographic is very simply of, if I have a service business, like I'm a plumber, or if I have a service business, if I have a garage, then my target might only be within a 10 to 15 mile radius of my business, right? But for most people that are doing business now online, their target is usually, or their expansion or who they can sell to is usually all over the world. But even when you do that, like when I first started off, I used to have a company called OM International. And the thing was, we opened it to everybody throughout the world. The only problem is when we would do trainings and live events and whatnot, and for all the people all over the world, they were all in different time zones. So sometimes I would do an event at 7, but it would be like 3 o'clock in the morning in Thailand. So eventually I narrowed it down to United States, and then eventually I narrowed it down even more to Chicago. So if I'm doing a live mastermind for small business owners, most likely that's going to be in my geographical area of Naperville, Aurora. But if I'm doing a Facebook advertisement, or if I'm trying to offer something online, then I open it up to the United States. But the first thing that you need to do when you're running a business is first figure out geographical. What zip code am I trying to own, right? And for most business owners, they expand too big, too fast. And just like from the book, The Art of War, army everywhere is an army nowhere. So you want to target it down, narrow it down. If you're a business that's local, let's just say Illinois, or if you're a business that's in Texas, you might want to just focus on owning your zip code and then kind of expand it out, right? So the first thing you need to figure out is geographical. Where are the people from? So like a lot of times when we do Facebook ads for clients and we start to test them and we do the first 30 days of testing, if we find out that for whatever reason, California is getting a better response to your ad than any other state, then why market it to 49 states? Let's just focus on California, i.e. hence geographical. Number 2, demographic. It's a fancy word for things that people have in common. So demographic might be a race, it could be an age, it could be a marital status. Demographic could be, I go after people that are couples, right? You figure out who your demographic is, who is most likely, what kind of, maybe you go after a certain type of person that reads certain books, whatever. But the same thing goes back to when I'm doing targeting or writing an ad for a client. We're trying to figure out all this. We're trying to figure out geographical. We're trying to figure out demographic, meaning who is more likely to buy from us. So let's just say that there's an expert in the field that is in the same field as you. We might want to target his consumers or his customers because he can't service them all. So number 2 would be figuring out what the demographics are. Are you going for women? Are you going for men? Are you going for couples? Are you going for single? Maybe families? Are you going after people that have children, right? These are all different demographics. Are you going after people that are into health and wellness, or people that are gym rats, right? It's whatever it is, but whatever product or service you offer, you have to figure out who, more importantly than the what, because you got to figure out who is most likely going to buy from you and buy this product or service. And a lot of times what you find out, especially when we do advertising for clients, we find out that the person they thought would most likely buy usually is not the one. So it doesn't matter what you think, it matters what the market wants. So number 2 is, when figuring out your target market, is demographic. Figure out as much as you can about the personality of what that person has in common. And a lot of times you find as I go through this, when we get to the past customers, you'll find that you probably already attract a tribe of people, but don't even realize it. And whatever that tribe is, or whoever's more likely to buy from you with the least amount of resistance, that's someone that you might want to add in your target. So a lot of times when a client hires our firm, or when we're doing an ad, a lot of times they don't know who their target is. They pretty much say, oh, anyone from 25 to 65. Like, see, that's too much. We got to narrow it down, especially when it comes to age. You want to be within a 25 to 35, a 10-year bracket, because you're still going to get spillover. People still that are over 35 are going to still be attracted to your marketing, and people under 25. But until you know who you're for, until you represent somebody, you're pretty much representing nobody, right? You got to really say, this is who I'm for. Here's the expertise I have. Here's the more likely who I talk to. And once you know that, once you know your geographical, once you know your demographic, then we can go on to number 3. Number 3 is industry. A lot of the times businesses will focus on a certain industry, meaning, like, let's just say it's truck drivers, or let's say that you just want to go after personal trainers, or let's just say that your business service would help more pastors than anybody else. So you got to figure out who is, or maybe not figure it out. Maybe a lot of the times what you want to do is you want to figure out what industry that you can offer your product or service to that would more likely buy it, or pass you on to somebody that would buy it, right? So it's like, it's common sense. If I sell health and wellness products, right, it would be a lot easier to have that conversation with someone that's in the fitness world, somebody that's a personal trainer, someone that works at a gym, someone that already believes in health and wellness, faster than trying to convert somebody to believe in health and wellness now because they haven't for years, right? So back to the point. Number 3 is maybe your target market is a certain industry. And a lot of times when I'm working with network marketers, this is a big mistake they make. They'll be in their MLM company, and then they'll have somebody that's high end, or one of their top people that's making the most money. And for whatever reason, that person attracts a lot of nurses. So then they think, I should probably go after nurses because the lady that's making the most money in this company is going after nurses. But what you don't realize, the reason why she's able to go after that industry is because she's a nurse, so she can relate to that group of people. Just because she can do it doesn't mean that you can. That's why a lot of times when people are doing business online, or doing it through email, or however that you're conducting business, you usually, most business owners don't really know who their target is. They don't really spend the time to define who is the perfect person that would probably buy from you. And a lot of times when you think you might know that would be the market, and you go test it and you make no sales, or you get no response, it's because maybe that's not who your target market is. So a lot of times when people hire us, we help them figure out what that target market is, because they probably haven't done enough research. They probably don't know what to look for to figure out who is most likely going to buy from me, and who's most likely going to buy from you right now, versus chasing customers down, trying to convert them all, spending all your energy and time cold calling, spending all your energy and time trying to meet with people, trying to sell them your product or service to people that already don't want to buy it. That's why it's so important to figure out who your target market is. Number 4 is affinity. And affinity is just an easy way of saying, I'm going to target people, and I'm going to go to a marketplace where people already can relate to me. So since I'm Hispanic, right, you would think that I would have a better response in the Hispanic community, but since I don't speak Spanish, that gets wiped out completely. But affinity just means that you might want to target a market of people that already relate to you, right? So like for me, since I have a family, have children, and since I'm married, I might want to go after other people that fall in that category, or because I work out 4 times a week, I might know people that would relate to my story if I'm selling a health and wellness product, whatever the case may be. But the point is that when you're marketing, the easiest person to target is the person that you have affinity with. Meaning, if you have 3 kids, it just so happens the person that you targeted has 3 kids, you immediately have a rapport, you immediately have some kind of trust built because you guys are the same, right? If you're somebody that's just recently divorced, you might have more of a rapport than somebody that's not. If you are somebody that just lost your job, you might have a rapport with somebody that just lost their job. If you are a nurse, you're going to have rapport with nurses. If you're a doctor, you're going to have more rapport with doctors. It just makes sense. So a lot of the times when you're selling a product or service, you might be able to pick your target market, which is the easiest way to start, is to pick people that and target people that have affinity with you, which means that when they hear your story and when they hear you speak about the product or service and they hear you talk about yourself personally, or they start to follow you online and see what you do personally, they can relate to immediately, right? Because they have rapport for you. They have affinity with you. So number 4, when targeting and looking for someone or looking for the perfect person to buy from you in your marketplace is figure out maybe target people that have affinity with you. Target people that have something in common with you. Like, for example, if I had twins, which I don't, but if I had twins and I just did an ad that said, hey, if you're someone that has twins, and then I just targeted the whole arena of having twins, I could have a whole marketplace of people that I market to that are twins, right? It's just very simple. Number 4 is market to people that have affinity with you, market to people that can relate to you because it's easier to sell to them because the trust is built immediately because you have a lot in common. Number 5, which most business owners neglect, past customers. So the people that is the easiest to target and the people that would most likely buy from you are people that have already bought from you, right? Because you've already went through the barrier, you've already broke the trust, broke the trust barrier. They now believe in you. That's why they've exchanged money with you. But another reason why it's important to look at your past customers, because you probably never really looked at what they all have in common. And that's probably the easiest way to figure out who your target market is. If you've already made sales to people, I hope so, if you're in business. And then when you did make the sale, what do they have in common, right? What did all those people have in common? Because for example, when we were doing seminars in Chicago, for whatever reason, for a while, for at least 3 or 4 months, whatever my marketing was saying, whatever my ads were saying to people, we were getting a lot of single women with no children, right? We were getting a lot of single women, no children. So then I easily seen that and I switched my ad, right, to just market and talk to people that are single with no children. Why? Because I looked at my past customers, I looked at the people that have already bought from me, and for whatever reason, that market was resonating with what I'm saying. So instead of trying to hit up every single person and target people 20 to 65, I narrowed it down to a certain group of people, which was women that were single, no children, between 40 and 50 years old, right? And that was years ago, but I'm just giving you guys an example. Also, when we do Facebook advertising, we do the same thing. We are trying to figure out who is going to most likely buy from you. And once I figure that out, then we go hardcore with that ad and we just push it to that arena, that marketplace, that state, whatever that may be, so that you can get the most results at the cheapest response rate. So now here's something that's kind of funny though, now that I mentioned that. When it comes, every time you guys see a Facebook ad, what I want you guys to do from this point forward, anytime you see a Facebook ad, and you guys know what I'm saying, if it says sponsored, that's a Facebook ad. Go in the top right-hand corner of that ad, click on it, and it will show you who they're targeting, and it'll show you why most likely you are seeing that ad. And what you're going to learn, a lot of people that do Facebook ads, they suck at it. They don't understand these 5 bases of target. They just know that Facebook ads are something they can use, and they know that probably they can get some results from it. So what do? They go and just run an ad and they target it to people 18 to 65. And if you look at most ads, that's what they do. They don't have no narrow, they don't have any specific affinity. They have no specific arena or marketplace or who they follow, nothing. They just literally throw up an ad, throw some words into it with no target of who they're trying to even reach. So then they just put an ad out there and hope it works. Then they market to the whole United States, which most likely, like I said in the beginning, you might want to own your zip code first before you start to expand throughout the United States. Why? Because it costs a lot of money to get exposure throughout the whole United States when we can just focus on your zip code, right? And so to do a recap, if you're trying to figure out who is my target market, because who is more important than what? Number 1, geographical. Are you looking just for people in a certain zip code, a certain state, a certain country, right? Number 2, demographic. What do they have in common? Single, married, right? Are they unemployed? Are they younger, older? Are they Hispanic? I mean, whatever. That's demographic. Number 3, industry. Are they all from a certain industry? Are they all work at a certain industry or a company? Like, let's just say that I sold insurance, and for whatever reason, the people that have the best rapport with me and response are people that are in sales making $60,000 to $80,000 a year. So then I might just want to market my product and service to people that are in sales that make anywhere from $60,000 to $80,000 a year. This is the reason why I love Facebook advertising, because we can narrow it down to, if you want to find a 32-year-old midget that drives a Prius that lives in California and lives with his mom, we can find that. That's what advertisement's about. Number 4 is affinity. Targeting people, which is the easiest target, is to target other people that are just like you. right? If you're a single mom, target single moms. If you're a married woman, target married women. If you're a recently divorced, go after people that can relate to you and that can share with your story. And number 5 is go look at your past customers and who are the people that are buying from you and who are the people that are buying from you with the least resistance. Because whoever that is, that's who you should be marketing to. And that's who you should focus all your energy, all your budget, all your advertisement, all your resources to that marketplace, because they're the ones that are buying from you. And they're the ones that are going to continue to buy from you because you've now figured it out. But unfortunately for most business owners, they won't even try to figure out who their target market is. They'll just keep yelling at people online. They'll keep running ads that are not working, and then just get frustrated because they don't know what they're doing. And it all comes back to one simple thing: if they could have just figured out who their target market was. So I hope you guys learned from this video. I hope to see you guys on Wednesday. This Wednesday coming up in downtown neighborhood at Nando's, Peri Peri, South African food. Everything is made fresh to order. We have the whole back deck, so we only have, I think, 5 to 6 spots left. So if you haven't clicked attending on that event, it's in our group Club 100. I hope you guys learned from this video, and I'll talk to you guys soon.